All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual who's featured very prominently on what looks to be a historic cross-promotional event as Bellator, MMA, and Rizin Fighting Federation clash, and that goes on New Year's Eve, and very intriguing matchup in the lightweight ranks with AJ McKee and Roberto Satoshi de Souza testing skills, and great having Roberto on the show. How's your day going so far, man?
Oh yeah, now I think just more hard part, it's like lost the weight, but keep training hard, But I feel good. I feel happy, I so exciting for the fight.
Yeah, it's cool because I was checking out an interview with MMA Mania that you did around May, and it seemed like even then you were almost like even eyeballing some fights with some Bellator fighters, like you were talking about, like competing with a lot of the big lightweights in Rizin, but it seemed like you kind of were looking at like taking on some like, Bellator talent as well, just wanting to take on the best lightweights in the world. Like, when did you find out about this cross-promotional event? I imagine you were really excited.
Because, the Bellator is a big event to have strong and good guys there. I think his AJ is a superstar, and the Bellator. Like that, man. I so happy, I want to make a good fight to everybody, and I try to show more of my skills too, And for sure, for this fight, I want to finish. I don't want to go to referee decision. This is I happy in my all fights. My all fights never go to referee decision. Like that. For sure, I want to finish whatever in the striking skills or grappling skills, whatever for me. But I want to give a good show for everybody.
And it seems like you were aware of your opponent before this bout being signed and what he kind of brings to the table. Like, I was kind of talking to him and he was saying he honestly hadn't really heard of like what you were getting up to before. Were you pretty aware of AJ McKee before this bout was locked in?
Yeah, I see him fight. He starts so strong. He give a strong kicks, strong spinning kick, high kick too. And I think it is for this fight is more harder his cardio. He have a good cardio. He make a lot fights like go to not a lot, but he makes some fights go to referee decision, and he's still good cardio. He not the guy start strong, but like in the second or third round, he lost the power or start make a lot of mistakes. I think for this fight is more harder this than him. He's smart. He's smart. He fight a long time. He's young too. He have a good coach. He dad. Like that. I think it's gonna make in the first round. I think it's more harder. I think the first round, I need be careful with him.
Yeah, so you think like maybe the first round will be like the most hectic one, and then maybe you weather the storm after and kind of implement your game plan. Do you see the fight playing out in that kind of way?
I think a lot plans, but I say this is a lot for my students. There's no problem. You think like I'm gonna do this if he do this, But it's funny. But when you start the fight, Mike Tyson said that a lot. You have a lot of plans, but when you get one punch in your face, your plans change. Like that. I think the same. I for sure I have the plans in my head, but sometimes inside the fight change a little bit. Like that. I know I don't have for sure I do this. I think different ways for win the fight, but I don't know. I think just in the fight, I gonna what to say English. Just in the fight, I gonna know what's I gonna do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, trusting your instincts has definitely paid off a fair bit, and it seemed to be the case last time out, too. I would have thought that was like a pretty special fight for you, just, you know, avenging the lone loss in the MMA career and getting the first round armbar finish over Johnny Case. Like, what were your like main thoughts from that performance defending your Rizin lightweight title?
Sorry, you can ask again.
Oh, just your thoughts on the, you know, previous fight where you avenged your lone loss to Johnny Case and got the first round armbar.
This is funny too. You know, he's here to help me, John Case. He stayed with me, I think, 2 months to help me because he's long too. I think not the same, but a little bit the reach. He's long too, you know, and he's an American wrestler too, and he helping me, you know, like that. I think he helping. I think for sure helping me in the skills, Western American wrestler in skills, helping me a lot. But I think my confidence is better now, you know. I think for this fight, the confidence to start good, you know. For this fight, this is more important.
Yeah, for sure. And something that I was seeing that I thought was kind of interesting, because I mentioned in your last fight you defended your Rizin belt. I was seeing AJ McKee saying in a previous interview he was wishing that the Rizin belt was on the line in this one. Is that something that you also kind of wish? I mean, this is a cool fight either way, but do you wish this was like an official title defense?
Sorry, I don't understand again.
Oh, no worries. Just AJ McKee in a previous interview was saying he wished the Rizin belt was on the line in this one. Do you kind of wish this was a title defense as well?
I know this time is not a title defense for the Rizin belt, but you know, I think for me it's now all fight is important. You know, have a belt or not. You know, so for me, like you know, whatever. If you have a belt or don't, no problem for me. Like, if this time don't have like a belt, you know, if I won or lost, my belt stay with me. So, but depends if the guys want the next fight, put my belt in the game. For me, there's no problem. I think, you know, I am the champion. You know, whatever, have a belt or not, I am the guy representing the Rizin. I am the guy representing Japan, you know. That for me, the belt is just what to say in English, like the point people look more, you know. But for me, don't change the have the belt or not. This time, don't have the belt. But if the guys want the next time have the belt, for me, it's no problem, whatever.
Yeah, and you talk about being proud, like representing for, you know, Japan and also the company as well. Like, this is such a cool event. Like, I was seeing Sakaki Bara talk about how it's going to start a new movement in MMA, and Scott Coker compared it to the Olympics. Like, what are your thoughts on this cross-promotional event? It seems like a lot of people are, you know, excited, and for good reason.
For sure. I so happy, you know. Like, when I started the event, when my first fight in the event, I think a lot of people don't believe in me. I think a lot of people still don't believe in me, you know. But now I am the champion. I represent the Rizin, I represent Japan, you know. So that I think for the sport is so important, man. Not, like now just Rizin, Bellator do that, but for sure in the future, if ISW, ONE FC, UFC too, you know, can make this, I think for us, for the sport, you know, is so important. I think for get the MMA more bigger in the world, I think need to do this, you know. Man, I happy, you know. I started to make this story, you know. Me and my students, my friend Kleber Quick, started to make this story. I think the first time, I don't remember this happened again before, you know, like American event versus Japan event, you know, like a team. You know, this is so funny because now people don't not just gonna fund the one guy, you know, the guy people make a fund for the event, represent your country, you know. That man, this is for sure, and a lot of people still talk about there in the future too, you know. I think it's forever, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and it's cool you mentioned Kleber Koike with his big fight with Pitbull coming up on the same event, because it's like you guys are representing Rizin, obviously, but it's almost like you're also representing Bonsai Jiu-Jitsu as well.
Yeah, this is funny too, because like when I start, like when MMA start, you don't represent yourself, you don't represent your team, you represent your sport. Like when Rickson Grace fight, the Royce Grace fight for represented Jiu-Jitsu, and the other guys represented like karate, boxing, and now it's fun, like for sure a lot of people want me and the Kleber one, but I think now people start think more about the event, so people's gonna happy for the event, not just for the guy, This is so fun. I so happy for that.
Yeah, and obviously you're a student of the game, like mentioning names like Rickson Gracie and stuff like that, and you're no stranger to the big New Year's Eve events. Like obviously a lot of significance in Japanese culture there, and you were on the previous Rizin New Year's Eve card in 2021. Like how much does that part of it excite you too, just being on another huge New Year's Eve show? And I mean, you're in the featured fight.
This is funny, but I say the last time when I fight the New Year's, I don't like too much fighting the New Year's, man, because the Christmas, like everybody happy, buy presents, eat a lot, and me and the diet, I don't like too much. Not for the New Year's. I think the New Year's like no problem, after the fight, have the time for the New Year's. But in the Christmas, like in Brazil, man, this is so important. I tell it to my wife. I have good memories, like when I'm more young with my dad, with my mom. Sometimes it's a hard time, but in the Christmas, everybody's happy food, for everybody. It's a happy time, And this year, my wife say, I don't do nothing because you in diet, you can eat, But I say to her, like, no, make something, I remember when I young, and the Christmas is a good time, I don't want, like, my kids remember the Christmas, the dad in diet, dad is mad. Like that is just this. And in the New Year, I don't like it. The Christmas time is more harder. Like that, I don't know. Maybe in the next time I try it out to Rizin, for the New Year's, no fight the lightweight division, go a little bit up, just for don't lose this moment, but keep fighting the New Year's.
Yeah, I get what you're saying in that sense. That makes sense when you kind of lay it out like that. But one last thing that I wanted to talk about, because earlier you were almost kind of like intimating that some people see you as like the underdog in this fight. And I felt like the last time that was kind of the perception too, a little bit, which is kind of curious to me because of how, successful you've been. Like, why do you think people do underrate you? Like, do you think it's just because of your, kind of kind demeanor and stuff like that? Because I mean, it seems like you're succeeding pretty well in fighting. Like, why do you think you're always in that underdog kind of role in some people's eyes?
Man, I like when I underdog, don't have a pressure. I feel I fight better when I underdog. Like that, I like to fight like big names. I think the Kleber feel the same, when now he gonna fight the Pitbull. Because for sure, he is underdog too. Like that, man, I really feel better. I feel more exciting. I feel like prove to everybody, it's okay you think underdog. There's no problem you don't believe in me, but you need to respect me, Like that, I like. When I underdog, I prefer fight like that. I like when I gonna fight and people don't believe in me.
Yeah, it puts a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and you can prove them wrong and everything like that. But I know you got an interview coming up here. It's fun getting to talk to you, man, but I want to be mindful of, your schedule and the other person looking to get some insights. So is there anything you might want to like add as kind of like a last parting thought as we're wrapping up here, Roberto?
Sorry, what's the question?
Oh, just if there's anything you might want to like put out there as a parting thought, like anything you might want to mention that I didn't touch on, perhaps.
Sorry, I can hear.
Just like a parting thought, if like anything you might want to add as we're kind of finishing the interview.
That's for the finishing interview. What to say? Wait. I feel good, It's like just this time is just for lost for some pounds, some kilos, But I feel happy. I feel exciting to fight. I try to put my energy, all energy I can use, like with my kids in the Christmas time. I gonna remember that in the chat in the fight, and for sure I gonna choke the word again. When people don't believe in me, is the time I show you how much better is my skills get. I know, like when I start the fight the Rizin, I don't have good skills in the striking, the wrestler, but I get better. If you watch my first fight and my last fight, you can see I change a lot. My mind changed a lot too. And for sure, for this fight, I think it's my big fight in my life, and I'm going to choke the word again.
Well, I'm very excited for this fight, and it's going to be a real treat for anybody who hasn't gotten to see your skill set yet. I think this is a great fight with AJ McKee, and going to be very exciting to see it on New Year's Eve. So thanks so much for the time, Roberto, and you have a good rest of your day, and looking forward to checking out the fight too.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot.